Shark Nation, what's good? How you doing? How you feeling? And welcome back. I'm G3, 3000 to be exact. And listen, man, as promised in the last episode, we have got the first ever G3SN Post Game Show. And look, man, this is going to be a whole lot of fun. We're going to have some really cool content for you guys in these episodes, man. So listen, go ahead and get comfortable, put your feet up, relax, and get ready to enjoy this post-game show. So without further introduction, man, I am super excited to present to you the brand new G3SN studio, Shark Tank studio, located on campus in downtown Seattle, man, where we have our mascot and host who is yet to be named. So comment down below right now, what do you think our mascot name should be? He needs a good one, so let me know what you think. But anyway, man, if you guys tuned into the last episode, then you know the Sharks had one heck of a matchup on their hands. They were facing off against the number 5 team in the nation, the USC Trojans, where we would go and we would see the Trojans start early in this game, scoring the first touchdown, and then we saw 2 back-to-back pick sixes from our backup quarterback, Jamarcus Thurman. And this game was looking like a track meet where the Sharks just weren't running. But anyway, man, Thurman was able to gain some composure in that first half, man, and find Glover for a touchdown. But the Trojans would shortly respond. As you see, Dixon would go into the end zone here. And then late in the second quarter, right before halftime, we saw Jamarcus Thurman standing in his own end zone, drop an absolute bomb to baby Megatron, giving the Sharks some life, and life it did give them, because in that second half, Thurman was throwing that football like his life depended on it, like the rent was due, you hear me? But anyway, that would not stop the USC Trojans, as they would respond every time that the Sharks scored, they would score again. But in the last drive of the game, the Sharks were able to tie the ball game up, and then Coach Hughes decides to go for 2, leaving the Trojans to go for a field goal at the end of the game that would be just wide left, and the Sharks will walk out of Southern California in the Coliseum in the rain with a victory, man. And if you didn't love that game, then you just might not love college football. That right there was a G3SN instant classic. Now we'll go ahead and take a look at some of the stats from the game, where we see Thurman went 13 for 25, 378 through the air, 4 touchdowns. We see Glover had 9 receptions, 247 yards, 3 touchdowns. Higgins came down with 4 receptions, 131 yards and a touchdown. We see Vincent had 13 carries for 84 yards and a touchdown. Edwards got there in the mix a little bit. Hubbard came up with 7 tackles, 1 interception. Edwards got in for 5 tackles. Troop came up with 4 tackles, 1 sack. And then we see Ricks finish it off with 2 tackles and 1 forced fumble. An all-around team win for the Sharks, man. You love to see it. But now, man, we'll go ahead and transition to our Shark Spotlight, where this week it is going to be on Jamarcus Thurman, our backup quarterback, number 9. And listen, man, if I'm being honest, in the beginning of that game, Jamarcus was struggling. I mean, he threw 2 pick sixes on back-to-back drives, man, and it was not looking good for the Sharks. But I will say this, Jamarcus Thurman is a guy of grit. He stayed in the game, he stayed locked in, and in that second half, he was a totally different quarterback. I'm telling you, was looking like Tom Brady out there. Maybe not TB, but looking like Thurman. Anyway, he would go and find Higgins and Glover multiple times for touchdowns in this second half, man, and really locked in and led this team ultimately to probably the biggest upset of the season this far, if not the year, in all of college football. And Thurman, man, he had an absolutely great game, and we were able to catch up with him in a G3SN exclusive locker room interview, and this is what he had to say.
Walk us through this game and just how you were able to pull off this incredible upset win.
Man, we really just had a don't take no for an answer type mentality. I made a couple mistakes early, but my teammates lifted me up and told me just keep my head up and play my game. And that's really what I did. I had to lock in and just be who I am on the field, and that's a dog. So it was a full team effort, man. It was a team win. I'm just glad we got the dub. Go Sharks.
You ended up with almost 400 passing yards against a great USC defense, and I don't think anyone saw this coming. How were you able to get in such a rhythm on just your first start of the season?
I just have extreme confidence in the work I put in to even get to this point. I mean, I threw 2 pick sixes in the first half, but I knew that's just not how I play this game. I just had to stay true to the fundamentals that I practice every day and play my game. That, along with the help of my teammates, is really what allowed the numbers to look the way they did. So there you have it, man. And I'm sure we'll be seeing a whole lot more of Jamarcus Thurman, as he will be the starting quarterback for probably the remainder of the season. What a way to get your first win. But anyway, man, now it's time to go ahead and transition to your top plays, brought to you by WX Sports Gear. And let's get right into it with number 3. So at number 3, man, we got Thurman dropping back to pass as the Sharks are knocking on the door. Ball's going to get tipped up in the air, and Cook is going to come down with the interception and take this thing all the way to the house, showing off his speed, showing off his wheels, and a little bit of high stepping at the end, man. Great play right there. At number 2, we got Jamarcus Thurman standing in his own end zone, looking for Glover on the left-hand side, and unlaunches a bomb Connection with Glover. Glover does the rest of the work and takes that thing in for 6. And at number 1, man, we got Thurman standing on the edge of the end zone at the end of the game. 2-point conversion, an absolute dot to Glover, right over the middle. Sharks go by 1 and ultimately end up winning the game off this play, and that is why that's your number 1 play. And as always, man, this presentation was brought to you by WX Sports Gear. World-class athletes deserve world-class sports gear. All right, and so now, man, we're going to change gears and get into our post-game interview where we got a chance to catch up with the man, the myth, the legend, Coach Hughes. And here's what he had to say.
First of all, Coach, congrats on the big win. In that first half, it looked like the game was decided with USC going up 21-0 very early. In the second half, your guys looked like a completely different team. What was said at halftime to spark such a great second half performance?
Well, in all honesty, this game wasn't about what was or wasn't said in the locker room. It was about the players on the field. They had to want to win more than the other team. They had to execute. They had to believe this game wasn't over. And that's all that changed at half. They wanted to win and went out and did it. Next question.
Coach, Thurman had a rough start to the game, but was able to bounce back in that second half and led the team to victory. How confident are you in your backup quarterback's ability to lead this team for the remainder of the season?
Well, I'm extremely confident in Jamarcus. We've already discussed what it'll take to lead this team, and I think he did a great job of putting words into action, pulling off this comeback win. Although we will miss Joe, I do believe this offense is in good, capable hands with JT. Well, all right, man, there you have it. Words from the coach himself. So listen, man, the Sharks are now 5-4, and with 3 games remaining in this season, our next opponent is going to be the Oregon State Beavers at Oregon State. So with that, man, we are going to go ahead and sign out of this G3SN Post Game Show from Shark Tank Studio, where I'm IC3 3000 to be exact. And remember, we still need a name for our mascot, so comment down below. But anyway, man, I'll see you guys next week versus Oregon State.